Have you ever felt that rush, that unstoppable excitement when your trade goes green? That moment when you see the profit rising, tick after tick, and your heart starts beating faster. You tell yourself, "This is it! This is the one! I knew it!" You feel powerful, intelligent, almost invincible. But then you hesitate. Because deep down, a voice whispers, "What if it goes higher? What if I sell now and miss the big move?" That whisper, that small, tempting voice, is not your logic. It's not your strategy. It's greed. And greed is the sweet poison of trading. It starts like a friend. It gives you confidence. It feeds your ego. It tells you that you're special, that you're the one who finally cracked the code of the market. But slowly, silently, it takes control. It blinds you. It makes you forget the plan. It convinces you to hold just a little longer, and then a little longer again, until the chart turns and your green turns red. And suddenly, you're not a genius anymore. You're frozen. You stare at the screen, thinking, "How did this happen?" You feel anger. You feel regret. You feel that burning pain of watching your winner vanish before your eyes. That's the cost of greed. That's the price of holding on too long. Trading is not about predicting the market. It's about managing yourself. You see, most traders think their biggest battle is with the market. But the truth is, the real battle is inside your own mind. The market doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your dreams, your goals, your confidence, or your hard work. It will rise and fall with no emotion at all. But you are full of emotion. You are full of fear, hope, and greed. And when greed wins, logic dies. Every trader remembers their first big win. That one trade that changed everything. Maybe you caught Bitcoin at the bottom. Maybe you held Tesla before the explosion. Maybe you flipped a Forex trade that doubled your account overnight. And that feeling, that feeling, you'll never forget it. The thrill of winning, the power of being right, the belief that you can do it again. But here's the danger. That moment becomes your addiction. You start chasing it. You hold your winners longer than you should, not because the chart says so, but because your ego says so. You want that same feeling again. You want to prove to yourself, and maybe to others, that you are still that brilliant trader. So you stay in the trade, even when the signs are turning, even when your gut whispers that it's time to exit. You stay because you don't want to miss out, because greed has convinced you that more is always better. But the market punishes greed every single time. Let me tell you something powerful. In trading, success doesn't come from making the most money. It comes from keeping the money you make. It's not about catching every move. It's about controlling yourself in the moves you do catch. The difference between a professional trader and an amateur is not the size of their wins, but the strength of their discipline. The pro knows when to walk away. The amateur never does. Because the amateur thinks trading is a game of greed, but the professional knows it's a game of control. You see, greed wears many masks. It doesn't always look like arrogance or obsession. Sometimes it looks like hope. Sometimes it sounds like optimism. You tell yourself, "It's okay, I'll just wait a bit more. The market will bounce back. I'll take profit after the next candle. You disguise greed as patience. You disguise it as belief. But deep down, it's still greed. And that's the trap most traders never escape. Because greed doesn't attack you when you're losing. It attacks when you're winning. When your mind is high on confidence and you think nothing can go wrong. That's when it strikes. The most dangerous feeling in trading is not fear. It's euphoria. That sweet, unstoppable energy you feel when you think you've mastered the market. Because when you feel unstoppable, you stop following the rules. You stop listening to your plan. You stop respecting the market. And that's when the market teaches you humility. Every trader gets that lesson. Some learn early. Most learn the hard way. Think about it. How many times have you said, if I just sold earlier, I would have made so much? How many times have you watched your profit melt away and promised yourself you'd never let it happen again? But then it happens again because the emotion was never fixed. The greed was never controlled. You tried to fix it with logic, but greed doesn't listen to logic. It listens to emotion. And until you learn to master that emotion, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Win big, hold too long, lose it all. Repeat. So, what's the solution? It's not about fighting greed, because greed is part of human nature. It's about understanding it. It's about recognizing its voice inside your head. When you start to feel that excitement rising, when you catch yourself saying, just a bit more, that's your cue. That's the moment to breathe and remember, you're not here to chase the market. You're here to control yourself. Trading is not a sprint. It's a long, emotional marathon. Your job is not to be right every time. Your job is to protect your capital and protect your mind. Because when your mind is calm, your decisions are clear. When your emotions are balanced, your results follow. And here's the truth that most never realize. Letting go is harder than holding on. But letting go is what separates the trader who survives from the trader who disappears. Letting go of a winner at the right time requires more strength than to hold it too long. Because to let go, you must silence greed. You must silence ego. You must silence that little voice saying, more. You must trust your plan. And that is what makes you a professional. So, the next time you see your trade deep in profit and your heart starts racing, remember this. Greed whispers in profits. Wisdom whispers in exits. You can't control the market, but you can control yourself. And that control is your true edge.
Greed. It's not just an emotion. It's a system wired deep inside your brain. You weren't born greedy in trading. You were built to be. Let me explain. Every time you win, every time your trade goes green, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when you fall in love, win a game, or take a risk that pays off. It feels incredible, that rush, that high, that confidence. Your brain loves it, and it wants more. So when you close a winning trade, you feel good for a moment. But deep down, your brain says, what if we had waited? What if we made double? And just like that, you're hooked. You don't want profits. You want the feeling of profits. You want that thrill of watching the chart climb higher and higher. That's not trading anymore. That's addiction. The brain of a greedy trader behaves just like a gambler's. It stops caring about logic and risk. It starts chasing the next hit. You don't even see the chart anymore. You only see your dream version of it. Every candle looks like opportunity. Every breakout feels like destiny. You stop asking, "What's my risk?" You start saying, "What if it goes higher?" That's how greed wins, not with force, but with temptation. You see, the market has a way of testing you, not with losses, but with profits. Anyone can handle a losing trade, but handling a winning trade, that's where your psychology is exposed. Because the question is not, can you win? It's, can you stop winning at the right time? Can you walk away while it still feels good? Can you stop while you're still in control? That's where most traders fail. They confuse winning more with being better. But in truth, the best traders are not the ones who win the most. They're the ones who know when to stop. Greed whispers, "You deserve more. This is your moment. Don't ruin it by exiting early." But wisdom whispers back, "Protect what you earned. Discipline over desire. Exiting strong is stronger than staying wrong." Let's be honest. You've been there. You've seen a trade move beautifully, everything aligned, it's green, you're proud. And then that thought appears, just a bit more. You wait. Price climbs a little higher. You smile. Then it starts to pull back. You say, "It'll come back up." You wait longer, but it keeps falling. You feel that sinking feeling in your stomach, that panic as you watch your profit disappear. And you can't even close it anymore because now your ego won't allow it. You tell yourself you're waiting for a bounce, but what you're really doing is hoping. And hope is the most expensive drug in trading. Greed begins the fall, hope finishes it. The moment you replace your trading plan with emotion, you've already lost. Because the market doesn't move for you. It doesn't care what you want. The only control you ever have is the exit button. Now listen carefully. Professional traders understand this deeply. They don't exit because they feel like it. They exit because their plan says so. They don't let greed talk them into staying. They let rules guide their hands. They understand that in trading, it's not about making every dollar. It's about making the right dollars. Because a professional knows a missed profit is better than a realized loss. Think of it this way. The market gives you opportunities every single day, but your capital and emotions are limited resources. Every bad decision drains them. Every greedy move weakens your edge. That's why pros treat trading like a business, not a casino. They think in terms of probabilities, not possibilities. They think in terms of process, not hope. When the trade hits their target, they exit. No emotion, no hesitation. Because they know discipline is the only weapon against greed. You might ask, but what if it keeps going up after I sell? And that's the most common question every trader asks. The answer is simple but powerful. So what? You weren't meant to catch the entire move. You were meant to catch your part, the part your plan prepared for. The rest belongs to someone else. That's how professionals think. That's how they stay alive in this game. Remember this line and burn it into your mind. You don't go broke taking profits. You go broke chasing them. The amateurs hold too long and let greed destroy them. The professionals take profit and let consistency build them. That's why traders with smaller gains often last longer than those who chase bigger ones, because small, consistent wins compound. Big, greedy wins collapse. The funny thing about greed, is that it often wears the mask of ambition. You tell yourself, I'm not greedy, I'm just ambitious. But the line between ambition and greed is control. Ambition is when you control your desire. Greed is when your desire controls you. Ambition builds traders. Greed breaks them. Think of the market like an ocean. Your ship is your capital. The waves are your emotions. When greed takes over, you chase every wave. You go where the wind blows, and sooner or later, you capsize. But when discipline guides you, you sail with purpose. You take what the ocean gives you and move on. You don't try to own the ocean, you just learn to navigate it. That's what trading mastery really means. Now let's get real for a second. Most traders lose not because they don't understand charts, but because they don't understand themselves. You can master candlesticks, you can study indicators, you can even learn macroeconomics. But if you don't master your emotions, the market will use them against you. Every time you get greedy, the market finds a way to take it back. Because the market punishes those who try to take more than they've earned. It's not luck, it's psychology, it's energy. The same force that gives you success tests if you deserve to keep it. And that test is your ability to let go. When a trade goes in your favor and you feel that rush, learn to pause. Learn to breathe. Ask yourself, if I didn't already hold this trade, would I enter it right now? If your answer is no, then you already know it's time to exit. That question is your emotional compass. It cuts through greed. It silences ego. It brings you back to logic. Every professional trader has scars from greed. They've all held too long. They've all watched profits vanish. They've all learned the hard way. But the difference is they learned. They didn't just lose money. They lost ego. They lost illusion. And that made them stronger. Because after every emotional loss comes psychological growth. The pain teaches what no book ever could. So don't run from that pain. Don't bury it. Remember it. Respect it. Because that pain is your greatest mentor. When you remember what greed cost you, you'll never let it win again. Trading is not about winning every trade. It's about surviving every emotion. You're not here to beat the market, you're here to beat yourself. And when you master that, you'll realize something beautiful. Letting go feels better than holding on. Peace feels better than greed. Consistency feels better than chaos. And once you feel that, you'll never trade the same way again. Because now you understand that greed doesn't make you rich, it makes you reckless. Discipline doesn't make you boring, it makes you powerful. And the real power in trading is not found in the profits you chase, but in the control you keep.
There comes a moment in every trader's life when a winning position becomes something else. Not a trade, not a strategy, but a promise. A promise your mind makes to you. This one will change everything. And that is the moment when danger enters, not from the chart, but from inside you. Because once you start expecting more, even profit starts to feel like a loss. You see a candle pull back slightly, and your heart drops, as if something is being stolen from you. But wait, you're still in profit. So why does it feel like pain? Because greed has flipped the truth. You no longer fear losing money, you fear losing what could have been. And that fear is far more destructive. Now your decisions are not driven by logic, they're driven by emotion, ego, and hope. You start watching every tick. You stare at the screen like the chart owes you something. You convince yourself, just a little more. One more push. This is nothing. It's going higher. Then, a small pullback becomes a deeper retracement. Your beautiful profit suddenly feels threatened. Panic hits. Now you think, should I exit? Should I wait? What if I sell and it goes higher? Your hands freeze. Your mind shakes. Your heart races. You do nothing. And just like that, a winning trade begins its journey toward disaster. Let's break this psychology down. When your trade is losing, your fear is simple: fear of losing money. But when your trade is winning, the fear transforms into something far more dangerous: fear of losing potential. And potential is infinite, which means the fear never ends. This is why some traders always exit late. This is why they give back profit again and again. Not because they don't know how to trade, but because they are afraid to let go. A trader enters the market beautifully. Perfect entry. Trend in his direction. He is up $1,000, then $2,000, then $4,000. Every new high makes his heart beat faster. Every pullback makes his stomach tighten. He starts counting how much more he could make if he just holds a little longer. His brain whispers, "This trade could change your year, your life." But what he forgets is something crucial. The market was never there to fulfill his dreams. The market was there to test his discipline. The same chart that made his hopes rise will soon crush them. The trend turns, price falls, he watches thousands evaporate. He still waits, he still hopes. Then his $4,000 profit becomes $0, then becomes a loss. When he finally closes, he's not just down money, he's down trust in himself. So ask yourself, why did he fail? Was the setup wrong? Was the signal weak? No. What destroyed him was the idea that holding longer could bring more happiness. He turned the market into a slot machine. He traded hopium, not strategy. Winning without discipline is just a delayed loss. So, what must you do? You must separate your identity from your profits. A winning trade does not make you a winner. A losing trade does not make you a loser. Who you are is the one who makes the decisions. When a trade is in profit, protect what is yours. Don't let the market decide when you exit. Don't let dopamine do the thinking. If the market pays you, you pay yourself. Notice your body signals. If you feel excited, if you feel unstoppable, if you feel like this is the one, that is not confidence. That is greed wearing confidence as a mask. And greed only has one goal: to push you past the point of safety. You must build internal rules. Set your target before you trade. Move your stop with the trend. Scale out profits as the move develops. Be satisfied with good instead of chasing perfect. Perfection does not exist in trading. Only profit taken is real. Every time you take profit at the right time, you feed discipline, you grow confidence, you become the trader who lasts in this business. You do not win by making the most money on one trade. You win by never giving back what you already earned. Greed whispers, hold a little longer. Discipline says, close, you've won. Your future depends on which voice you obey.
There comes a moment in every trader's evolution when the truth finally reveals itself. You do not succeed by holding the longest. You succeed by leaving at the right time. Your power in trading is not measured by how high the chart goes, but by your ability to decide when enough is enough. At the beginning of every winning trade, there's excitement, a spark of possibility, a feeling that this one could change everything. But that spark can very quickly turn into a fire. A winning trade is like holding a flame in your hand. At first, the warmth feels thrilling, empowering. It makes you feel alive. But if you hold it too long, that same flame will burn you. The market does not warn you before it takes back what it gave. It just takes. A small pullback becomes a sudden drop. Your confidence turns into panic. Your celebration turns into regret. And you watch profit become break-even, become loss. Not because the market was cruel, but because you refused to let go. This is the painful truth. Profit is not real until you take it. Everything you see on the screen is only potential, and potential can disappear in a heartbeat. When you hesitate, you hand the control back to the market. When you hope, you surrender your discipline. When you cling too long, you let greed choose your fate. A trader doesn't win by predicting the top. A trader wins by protecting what's already theirs. You are not in this business to be perfect. You are here to be consistent, to stay alive in the game, to build trade by trade. Every time you take profit with conviction, you strengthen your mindset. You prove to yourself that you are in control of your decisions, not desperation, not fear, not greed. You build trust between your future self and your current discipline. Think about how many times you gave everything back to the market, not because you were wrong, but because you wanted just a little more. That little more is where most traders destroy themselves. You do not need the entire move to succeed. You only need the part you were disciplined enough to take. The market offers opportunity, but you decide when to translate that opportunity into progress. You decide when your win becomes real. Professional traders are not proud of catching the exact top. They are proud of leaving the market with their dignity intact. They are proud of being in control. Control is your real edge. Control is what separates survivors from casualties. From today forward, you do not hold trades out of hope. You hold them with purpose, and you exit with strength. You are a trader who protects what you earn. You are a trader who chooses discipline over desire. You are a trader who knows letting go is not weakness. Letting go is winning on your terms. A single trade will never define you. A single profit will never complete you. What defines you is the courage to take action before emotions take control. What defines you is walking away with clarity and saying, "I win because I choose to." And that choice makes you a champion in this market. Subscribe to Mind for Trade and continue growing the mindset that turns traders into champions.